Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Devashish and I am your InfoSec guru. Today we are going to discuss about practical way of doing risk assessment. Before we proceed with this video, if you are not aware about the risk management core concepts, I would recommend you to watch my previous video, which is risk management core concepts, and you will be able to understand the theory part of risk management and core concepts of risk management. And then this video would be very helpful for you to understand, and you will be in a better way to understand this video. Before we go ahead in this video, I will quickly move on to our Excel sheet, which will guide you through all the risk assessment, how we need to do the risk assessment, what is the risk metrics, what is risk appetite. If you see this sheet, it has only the risk descriptions mentioned and the other parts are blank. So we are going to do a practical risk assessment today and a live risk assessment. So let's start with today's video. Okay, so this risk assessment template would have certain key points, which is the assessor name. Then we would have a assessment date, which would be today's date. Then when was it last reviewed? Normally it can be reviewed annually, it can be reviewed quarterly, or it can be reviewed as in when it is required. So I have assumed that last reviewed was 1st Jan. And then the next review date, which is 1 year from now. Okay. So let's quickly jump on to our risk assessment. So the first part is risk identification, then we'll perform the risk evaluation, then which will perform the control assessment and effectiveness. Then we will do the risk analysis, risk treatment, and risk tracking and monitoring. So we'll go through all the phases of risk management. If you are still unaware of the risk phases of risk management, go watch my previous video. And before I start my video, please subscribe to my channel. This would help me and motivate me to make more videos like this. So let's first understand what is the risk appetite and what is the risk matrix so that you would be able to understand how risk assessment is being done. So the risk appetite is being defined by the organization goals and by the senior management. So this is not a job of the risk manager. This is a job of the senior management. So they would understand how much risk they can tolerate, and then accordingly they would go ahead and formulate this risk appetite. So if I talk about risk metrics, matrix is basically impact and likelihood matrix. So you can see we have 5 parameters of probability or likelihood and 5 parameters of impact. And accordingly, we would put our risk here in this matrix. Okay, so we have risk value. So for all the probability, we have value here. And for matrix also we have value. So we will multiply this and then the risk value comes, and accordingly we'll map it in this table. Okay, so 1 to 4 would be low and the risk treatment would accept. 5 to 8 would be medium and again risk treatment would be accept. 9 to 11 would be high where we'll mitigate it, and any 12 plus would be critical where we'll mitigate it. So let's do the assessment, start the assessment now. And we also have an impact rating and the probability rating. Okay, so none of the video in YouTube you will be able to understand how to do the probability or likelihood and how to do the impact assessment. Okay, so I have mentioned 5 parameters which would again decided by the senior management and all the business owners. Okay. So in the impact, if the information, disclosure, modification, unavailability has no impact on the business, then it would be insignificant. So everyone knows in information security, everything is measured on CIA tried, that is confidentiality, integrity, and unavailability. Okay. So similar way we'll measure the impact. So if the information disclosure, modification, and unavailability has very minimal impact on the business, then it is low. Then moderate impact, but no financial loss, it would be medium. Impact to regulatory non-compliance, it is high. And then major impact with legal financial implication would be critical. This would, again, as I said, would be decided by our senior management. Similar way for the likelihood, we will see if the issue has never occurred in the past or very rare to happen in future, then it would be rare. If the risk has a chance to materialize but never occurred in the past, then it is unlikely. If the risk has chance to materialize and has occurred once in a year, then possible. Then if it has more than once, then likely. And more than twice, it is almost certain. Okay, so this is again, mapped by the business owners, the senior management, the our information security steering committee. They would go ahead and put these parameters accordingly. The risk managers or the GRC professionals will perform the risk assessment. Okay, so now this risk assessment is not being done in a siloed environment. It is not being done by a risk manager or a GRC professional. This has to be done within the steering committee, within you, all the risk owners like the senior management, GRC professionals, IT head, and all the other whoever is getting impacted by the risk has to be there in the risk meeting, and then they would go ahead and perform this risk assessment. Okay, so first scenario is external attacks on servers exposed to the internet. So this is a risk, right? So whichever servers our organization has, if it is exposed to the internet, then it is a risk. A risk owner could be the server owner, might be, IT head. Now, what is the probability of, this external attack happening when any server is exposed to the internet? So I would say almost certain. If it is exposed to the internet, then any external person can get inside and try to at least get inside. What is the impact? So if the servers now again comes the your asset classification and asset documentation. Okay, so your asset tracker. So if the servers are maybe critical servers doing some business processing, business activity processing, then it is very critical to us. So it would have at least a major impact and a financial impact to us. So I will also mark this as critical. Now, we'll calculate the inherent risk. How do we calculate the inherent risk? Okay, so inherent risk is calculated by the risk matrix. So impact is critical and probability is almost certain. So this comes as 5 into 5, which is 25. So 12 plus is critical. So we will go ahead and write here critical. Okay. Now this is our inherent risk. Okay. Which is before applying any controls. Now let's say IT team has multiple controls to safeguard these servers. Like if it is a web server will have a web application firewall. We have IPS. We may have some EDR solution. Okay. Now we will do a control effectiveness and understand if these controls are effective. So after these three, do you think still the attack from external is possible? I would say yes, right? Even if we have multiple, uh, you know, controls, still there are many loopholes. Like, servers may have some vulnerabilities which we have not accessed properly. So maybe EDR would fail to identify any zero-day vulnerabilities. So there are multiple ways to get inside the servers, even if you have current control. So I would say these controls are semi-effective. Okay. Now, what is the probability after putting this control? So it has a chance to materialize, but has occurred once in a year or has never occurred in the past. Okay, so after this control, we have not identified any, scenario where someone from external has tried to, get into our servers. So let's say we'll mark this as unlikely, which is it has a chance, but it has never occurred in the past. So we'll mark this as unlikely. Okay. Now the impact. So if it occurs, what is the impact? Again, this is a critical server. So I would still say the impact would be critical. I hope till now I am clear. Now we will calculate the residual risk rating. Okay. So how do we calculate again? Go to this sheet. So unlikely and critical. So 5 into 2 is equal to 10. So what is 10? The risk rating would be still high. So if the risk is high, what do? We mitigate it. Okay. So what we'll do, risk treatment is mitigate. Okay. Now we'll put the plan here, how to mitigate. We would put additional controls. Okay. And then the risk owner would be again our IT head or whoever is responsible for putting this additional control. Okay. Now, what is the estimated time? Let's say we'll take 6 months to do this additional control. So I will write May 2025 and the status of remediation, which would be again tracked accordingly with the 6 months time frame. Okay. Because it is high, so we may have to put the additional estimated time in maybe 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, whatever is feasible for an organization to bear the risk if it occurs. Okay. Now, I this in this risk, I have taken some time so that you may understand how do we do a practical risk assessment. Okay. Now I'll move quickly. So next point is data leakage from end user system. Okay. This is also a critical thing. So I will mark it as again IT head. So data leakage is what? Almost certain because you will, if you don't have any control, you will find people, moving the data here and there, and you don't have any control over it. Okay. Impact, again, if it is a critical data, if it is a business data, it would be critical. If it is a non-business data or non-regulatory data, it might not be critical. So we would write maybe high here, not critical but high. What is the risk rating again? Tell me. So we have 5 into 4 equal to 20. So that means 12 plus is always critical. Okay. As per our risk appetite. Now, what is the current control? Current control is we have USB block in all our end user systems. Okay. Again, this is semi-effective because nowadays there are a lot of ways, like we have many cloud storage services like Google Cloud, like we have Box, we have One Drive, many cloud services, storage services where we can put the data and then maybe leak that data or anything can happen, right? So then again, what is the probability or likelihood of people uploading data on the cloud? It is again almost certain. What would be the impact? Again, high. So 5 into 4 is 20. That is again critical. Now, what is the risk treatment for critical? It is mitigate. How do we do it? We put DLP software, which will monitor all our data leakage, at least our critical and PII data, because nowadays lot of regulations have come uh, which talks about safeguarding the personal data like DPDPA, GDPR, etc. So who is the owner of implementing this? Again, IT head, and timeline would maybe XYZ, and then again the remediation status. Okay, till now I hope I'm clear. Okay, next is exploitation of vulnerabilities due to improper tracking and management. Okay, fine. Who would do the vulnerabilities tracking and management? Let's say security head. Okay, I would put it as CISO. So exploitation of vulnerabilities, if there is no control, then almost certain. If a vulnerability is exploited, it is critical. Again, critical here. What are the controls? We have Qualys, which would be monitoring the vulnerabilities. We have, vulnerability VAPT, process and procedures, which monitors vulnerabilities and does the penetration testing of all the assets. So now, after doing this, we are quite this control. We have done the testing of the control. It is quite effective. Okay. Now we have all the controls. What is the probability of coming? It has a chance to materialize because there are certain 0-day vulnerabilities which can come, but we can mark it as unlikely. Okay. Now, what is the impact if any 0-day vulnerability occurs and again exploited by someone? So I would say it is very rare. So I would mark it as rare because even if it comes, it is very rare someone, you know, go ahead and exploit the vulnerability. What is the impact? Impact would be medium, let's say. Depends on multiple factor, but still according to the risk scenario, according to the organization environment, I would say it is medium. So what is medium and rare? 3 into 1 is 3. So before it is uh, from 1 to 4, it would be low. Just to give you a background on all the scenarios, what is the uh, treatment when it is low? We'll accept it. Now there is no treatment plan. There is no risk owner next. There would be no estimated time. Okay. Risk owner would be still the CISO, but as per our appetite, we think we can accept the risk and do our business accordingly. We don't need to invest more, time and effort on this risk. Now, system outages due to lack of change management. Who owns the change management? Again, IT head. If there is no change management process, what is the probability? Probability would be, I would say, likely. What is the impact? System outage would have moderate impact, but no financial loss. So I would say medium. What is medium into likely? 4 into 3, 12. 12 plus is critical. What is the control? We have a matured change management process and procedure, which includes all the approval process, like CAB approvals and all the change risk assessment and everything. So this process, I would say, is effective. After applying this process, what is the probability? It is very rare because we have multiple controls to manage the change. Okay, we may have a rollback process also under this change management process, where if anything goes wrong, we'll go ahead and quickly roll back. Okay, what is the impact? Low. Now low into rare is again low. We'll go ahead and accept it. Okay, fine. Now data business loss due to security incident. Okay, again the owner would be CISO. So security incident comes, let's say a ransomware attack has been done. So certainly there would be data loss, there would be business loss. What is the uh, likelihood if there is security incidents and we are not doing any control, we are not monitoring it, we are not looking at the incident? What is the likelihood? It is almost certain. You would agree with me, okay? And the impact is also critical. So inherent risk value is critical. Now, what is our current control? We have incident management process and procedure. We have our SIM tool. We have SOAR tool, which is integrated with our EDR and which is marking the incidents. So this is again, I would say, quite effective. But still there is a chance of getting incidents because not just all the incidents cannot be monitored by SIM, SOAR, and SOC team. So I have just forgot to mention SOC team. But still there is a chance. So I will write possible here. Okay. What is the impact if there is any? Then it would be high, medium. And now what is the risk value? So possible 3 into 3 is equal to 9. If it is between 9 to 11, it is high. What is the treatment? It is mitigate. So if there is a ransomware, how do we mitigate? We put additional like backup, process, and procedure where we have, you know, off-site backup process. We may take some insurance, which is our risk mitigate and transfer risk transfer process, where we transfer the risk to someone else. Okay, we may have some BCPDR process. Okay, these are the following plan which will follow. So again, who would own this? Let's say CISO is going to own this. What is the time frame? And let's say it all these processes would take some time. So we'll mention 1 year from now, which is November 2025, and then we'll follow up on the remediation status. So I hope this practical risk assessment is very clear to you now, and you will be able to perform risk assessment in your organization or in your professional life when you encounter such situation. But one key point to remember, this is not an activity which a GRC professional or a risk management professional would do by himself in a siloed environment. This needs brainstorming, this needs inputs from all the business owners and business process owners and senior management also, okay? So this is a very high level activity which includes, multiple stakeholders, okay? So I think I am clear till now. So if you have any doubts, you can just put comment in the comment section, and please do like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. You have a great day ahead. I will see you in the next video.